So we have learned about the basic math operations. In this video and on, we are gonna extend our knowledge a bit more because we are going to learn about very important pieces of the Kotlin fundamentals. In this video, we are going to introduce functions. Now, functions, we can divide them into three main types. Okay, but before that, we need to answer a few questions about functions. What does function mean, why we are gonna use it, and also how we are gonna use it. Now, what does function mean? Essentially, function, it's a piece of code or a few lines of code that will run in a specific time. So this is like a very basic definition. It's a piece of code or a block of code that will get executed in a specific time. Now, why we are going to use function? Function, once you create very large applications, then you are going to need to divide your code into block or small blocks of code. And in order for us to do that, we are going to use functions. So functions is going to allow us to keep our code simpler, organized, structure, and so on. So this is why we are going to use functions. Now, a really important question is how we are going to use functions. So as I said, we are going to divide functions into three main videos. The first one, or three main types, we are going to explain each type in one video. So in this video, we are going to explain the first type. Now, if you take a look here on this file right here, when you are creating new playground from this website, you are going to see we have this fun, stands for function. This is the name, these parentheses, and these are the block brackets. Okay, so this is a function. Okay, essentially this is a function. But if you have used a code editor, then you will see some arguments right here we are going to explain. So if you are using a code editor like IntelliJ IDEA, then the function that you will see when you are starting a new file, you will see the second type of functions. We are going to explain it in the next video. Okay, but for the time being, stay with me. This is the first type of functions. Essentially, it is a piece of code that will run in a specific time. So here we are creating a new function using the fun keyword. It's like the var keyword. Here we have fun. Then we need to give it main, or we need to give it a name. In this case, main, any name that we want. Here we add parentheses to declare a function, to say, hey, this is a function. Between these brackets, we are going to add the body of the function, any code that we want. And here, as I said, here it's a function. So if I type anything here, the compile will take it. Once I click here, it will call it. It will call this function and run all the code inside it. Okay, the compiler does not know about the code inside the function. Okay, it will take anything inside it, whether it's a valid code or it's not a valid. Okay, in case if it's a valid, it will run it. If it's not a valid, like so, it will cause an error. Okay, like so. So this is really the idea behind functions. It's a piece of code that will run in a specific time. So this is the main function. Now the main function, it is the first thing that will run once we click on the run button right here. So the compiler will ignore everything and it will go ahead and execute this main function right here, because this is the main function for our application. So that's why the compiler, once we click on the run button, it will jump over to this function and run it. Okay, so that's why we are writing our code right here. Now, how to create our own functions? So after here, after closing this function right here, after the end, I'm gonna type fun. I'm just gonna call it a print name. You can call it any name that you want, parentheses and brackets like so. So here I am just gonna type, I have the freedom to write anything. Okay, I will say my name is Abdul Wahab, like so. Okay, so I have created my own function using the fun keyword with the name of print name, parentheses, and these two brackets to contain the body of the function. So if I jump and click run, you will see nothing being happened. Now why is that? Now we have declared the function, but we want to call it. We want to tell the compiler here inside the main function, because as I said, the compiler will ignore everything and jump over to the main function. We need to add anything here inside our main. Of course, you can cut it and paste it like so, but this is not our idea. We are learning about functions, so I will revert it back. So how do we call a function? In order for us to call a function, we need to type its name, a print name like so, and give it the parentheses. Okay, like so. We are calling a function. So the compiler, what it's gonna do is gonna go ahead and execute this function, the main function, and once it's reached to this line, okay, it will say, hey, you are calling a function. Then it will directly ignore the rest of the lines if we have some code here, and it will run this function. Okay, so let's go ahead and see that. If I run here, click on run, you will see that it's print this thing right here, print my name or print name. So I'm gonna wait for it. Come on. I'm not sure why I'm not getting the value. Maybe I need to refresh it. I'm gonna click on run once again, and indeed I got my text right here with the like so. So as you can see, this is the idea behind functions. You can create as many functions as you want. So let's jump over here. I'm gonna create a fun. Let's call it for example anything. I'm just gonna call it call age for calculate age. I'm just gonna type print ln my age is 66, let's say. So I have declared my function, but remember I need to call it somewhere inside our main function. So if I came here and say age, ch, and click on run, I should see my age is 66 like so. So as you can see, our code, it's been executed line by line. So the compiler, when it's executed, it will go ahead and run the first thing, which is the main function right here. It will see that, hey, we have this, the print name, we are calling a print name function, so that's why it will ignore the c age for now. It will jump over and execute anything that we have here inside our print name. Once it's finished, it will go back and continue calling or executing these lines, and it will see that, hey, we have a ch, so it will go ahead and stop right here calling this function. Once it's finished, it will go back and keep executing all these lines by lines. Make sense? So this is the idea behind functions. It's really simple. Of course, this is the first type. In the next few videos we are going to talk about the second and the third type of functions. So this is really the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. Just remember two things: create a function and call it. Okay, this is the whole idea behind this lesson. Create a function and call it. Make sense? See you in the next one.